Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello, my name is Cassandra, and I create videos on productivity, journaling, and the occasional travel and living abroad vlog. In this video, we are setting up my 2025 bullet journal cover pages. If you'd like to see a full flip through of my 2024 bullet journals, you can check out that video here, where I share a bit more about the spreads I used, how I use my bullet journal, and more. So first we are setting up the cover page, and I like to put at least the year, mainly because I use one bullet journal for half years, if that makes sense. So I usually have my bullet journal for 6 months of the previous year and then 6 months of the next year. So technically this journal has 2024 in it, so I need the 2025 cover page just so I know that we are starting 2025. I chose this color palette because mainly I wanted to kind of like veer away from the usual color palette that I usually choose, and I wanted to switch it up. And now we are going into the quote page, and shout out to Pipa's art for the inspiration of the quote page. I was searching up some inspiration on YouTube and I found her video, and so I recreated her quote page actually, and I've linked her original video down in the description box. I wanted a quote because I thought it would be nice to just like reflect on and something cute for the beginning of 2025. And this quote says, "Let us live like flowers, wild and beautiful and drenched in the sun." And that is kind of like the vibe that I want for 2025. I want to be outside more, I want to be in the sun more, and I just want to really lean into just enjoying life. This quote is by Ellen Everett. I actually found this quote also on Pinterest, and I thought this was also really cute. I mean, originally I found it on Pipa's art video first, and we are just drawing out a little frame for it and decorating it with bows and flowers, kind of like a spring-esque vibe. This is something really different. I've actually never done something like this before. Definitely not this style, so it was out of my creative comfort zone. I've also never drawn with colored pencils in my bullet journal. Mainly I use markers, and this was the first time that I actually brought in colored pencils and kind of switched up, or combined really, the art mediums. So we've got colored pencils here, we've got markers, and then I also will add in some washi tapes. So I added in some cute decorative elements, and then I'm going in to some of the doodles and coloring it in with markers. This is something I've actually never done before either, but I really love the combination. I don't know why I didn't think about this before, but I love coloring in the colored pencil doodles with markers and kind of having like that outlined look. I think it looks really cute, and also because the markers and the colored pencils are not exactly the same color, it looks, I think, really nice. So I'm going back in to decorate the 2025 cover page and adding in some washi tape. This is washi tape that my friends gifted me for my birthday. I thought it was nice because it kind of went with the color scheme and has kind of a flowery feel. I'm not totally sure if these are flowers, but they kind of look like flowers. So I added that there, and then we are going in and kind of just decorating a little bit more of the page so it's not so blank. I added in "Welcome 2025," and then at the bottom of the page I wrote "Be gentle." If you've been following me on YouTube for a while, then you'll know that 2024 was, I don't want to say it wasn't a gentle year, but it definitely was a year of a lot of change and very, I like to say, chaotic, a little bit turbulent. So I am hoping that 2025 will be more gentle. So that's why I decided to write that in the cover page. So once we are done with that, we are going into one of my favorite spreads, and also one of the spreads that makes me the most nervous to create is actually the future log. So I love calendars. I feel like I say this all the time. I love a good calendar. I will draw 12-month calendars, 3-month calendars, 1-month calendars, whatever it is. I love calendars because I just love looking at like dates. I don't know why. So in here, we are going with kind of like a rainbow theme for each of the months. And then we are going to write everything out. Usually my future log, I like to keep track of dates like birthdays, holidays, vacation time. If there are any specific events that I have, I like to keep it in here. And even though I'm going to only be using this notebook until probably June, because I usually can fit about 6 months in there, I want to at least see the full year, because then when I create my next bullet journal for the second half of 2025, I can return to this future log and then migrate all of the important dates from June to December into my new bullet journal. So I feel like this is one of the more nerve-wracking things to create. Like the cover page, sure, it's a cover page, but for some reason, creating a future log and making sure that you get the spacing right and the numbering right for the dates or, all of the months, kind of hard. I always have to double check. So I will pull out my calendar app and just see how I am doing this, making sure that I remember which months have 30 days, which months have 31 days, and you'll see it later on in this video, but I actually had 2 mistakes, because one month, I think it was April, I wrote that it had 31 days, but I think April has 30 days. Yes, April has 30 days. And then I definitely wrote out 1 week to have 8 days in it. So I had to scratch those out. A simple tip that I found to make numbering your months easier is pulling out your calendar app, kind of like what I was doing earlier, and then writing down the first number of each week. So then that way you know when the numbers start and when the months end. This helps make it a lot easier, so then I don't actually have to open the app every single time and count the days. I can just kind of see and follow, okay, if the week starts on the 2nd, then I can just number and then follow the pattern. That has made it a lot easier. I feel like the spread usually takes me a really long time because it's quite tedious. But now with that trick, I feel like I can get through this faster, and I trust myself so that I don't always mess up or have a lot of mistakes. Now that we've got all of the numbers in for each month, I am going in with colored pencils again and writing out the names of the months. And then I am going over that colorway with blue. So it's that kind of mauve-y color with a blue colored pencil. It kind of looks a little bit 3D-esque. And I am adding in the same elements that I added to the quote page onto the future log and coloring that in as well. So it kind of just looks all nice and even. And now we are flipping to my quarterly planning page. So this is a new page that I am including. Shout out to Joshi Corinne for the inspiration for this page. I was watching one of her videos and she was explaining how she divides her year into quarters and tracks and logs in that way instead of trying to imagine and plan out a full year. And I was like, cool. I have never done that before, but I want to try it. So since I only use, my bullet journals for about 6 months, and then I have to get a new bullet journal, it didn't make sense to try and plan out and see a full year in my bullet journal. And that's something that I realized anyways. So I am adding in 2 quarters into this bullet journal spread. And I think this will be a lot better, mainly because I can track important dates. I can put in my goals for the quarter, and I can actually measure and see how I'm doing instead of trying to imagine a full year, especially because I feel like imagining past June is actually kind of hard, mainly because you just really don't know what's going to happen. So I drew out the quarterly planning page and I drew out 2 boxes, one for quarter 1 and then one for quarter 2. And then what I'm going to do is write out my goals and focuses for each of the quarters. And then something that Joshi shared is that she kind of divides her months by like 3 weeks, she is working and kind of implementing, and then 1 week of the month she takes off. And I thought that was really cool. That's something that I would like to implement for this year. So that's what I'm also going to be writing in this section. I'm going to divide and note, okay, what are the 3 weeks that I am working, implementing, kind of like doing the work, working on my business. And then what is the week where I am more like planning, strategizing, and resting. I feel like that's really important just as like a business owner. So then I have time to just think through things. Now, the next page is the 2025 goals page. If you watched my mid-year journal setup for 2024, I added in a lot of extra pages because I thought, oh, this is cute. I was really inspired by other bullet journalers and they had so many extra spreads. And honestly, y'all, that does not work for me. Like, I am creative and I really enjoy functional bullet journal spreads. I want to combine my creativity with productivity, but when it's like too many spreads, I actually don't end up using them. So this is actually the last spread of my 2025 cover setup, and it is just my 2025 goals. So I'm adding in the same elements from the quote page, some little sparkles, the tulips, and just cute decorative elements. Honestly, y'all, I think my style is definitely like organized chaos. Maybe organized, colorful chaos is maybe what I'm going to deem my vibe and my style. So we're adding in all of the cute elements and some nice colors. So then it just looks, I don't know. To me, I just want things to look full for some reason. And that's kind of what this top portion looks like. Okay, now that we've got the header, I am going in and drawing 3 boxes. This big box on the bottom is going to be where I write my 2025 goals. I don't know if I will write all, like the full year's goals. I think what I'm going to do is probably divide it up by 6 months. And then I drew 2 boxes up at the top because I like to have my words of the year front and center. So I choose 2 words of the year every year, one for personal and one for the professional side of things. So I'm going to write my words of the year there just so I can be reminded of them every time I flip through my bullet journal. I'm going to add in some of my cute washi tape. That washi tape has hydrangeas on it, and this one has tulips. And I feel like both of those, since they're floral washi tapes, definitely go well with the theme of flowers and springtime-esque and just blooming. All right, y'all, let's do a full flip through. Here is the cover page and the quote page. I added in an extra washi tape at the bottom of the quote page. I love this color palette. It's really outside of my comfort zone, but love it. Here is the future log page. This is where I'm going to write all of my important dates and vacation, time off, anything like that. And then we have the quarterly planning and the 2025 goals. This is definitely a simpler spread than what I am used to, but I think this is more functional for how I want to be using my bullet journal. All right, y'all, thank you so much for joining me in my 2025 bullet journal setup. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Happy bullet journaling!